Hey YouTube, it is Trinity Productions, trinityprosound.com, coming at you again with another one of our videos. This time on a RCF product. We've been getting quite a few requests for this, so we have brought in a ART745A, which is their top-of-the-line box in the ART series. And it is injection molded in two pieces. But this thing touts a 15-inch driver for the low frequency, and then the high frequency driver is a 2-inch throat with a 4-inch voice coil on the neodyme high frequency driver. What makes this box just absolutely amazing is the crossover point on that. With that big driver on the horn, which we'll get into, they have crossed this box over at 650. Normally in the ART series, with their other boxes, you're looking at about a 1700 hertz crossover, which is pretty high. But what they've been able to do with this larger diaphragm on the high frequency driver, the transition from the low frequency driver up to the high frequency driver at that 650 point level, absolutely amazing. Just the vocal clarities and things that you get out of this, and how it carries kind of in that higher mid-frequency range. Amazing, amazing. I mean, we've sold quite a few of these things. We sold some to a ministry that goes over into Africa, and they bought 8 of them to put up on sticks and things to do crowds between what he had estimated to do 5,000 to 10,000 people for voice. So great box, gets very loud. The specs on this thing, it is 700 watts RMS, and it needs every bit of it to really produce the SPL that it needs to put out. The specs on this 745 box, it is rated from 45 to 20, 133 dB max SPL, which is pretty good. 90 degrees wide, 60 degree vertical, 650 hertz crossover point. 15-inch neo driver with a 3.5-inch voice coil. Excuse me, I thought it was a 2-inch driver, but it's only 1.5 inch throat on a 4-inch voice coil for the high frequency driver. 500 watts to the low frequency driver, 200 watts to the high frequency driver, 700 watts total with their digital power amp on the back of it. The case is done up very nicely. It's got carry points on it. It's got 2 handles on the sides, as you can see here and see here. And then on the top of it, it does have a carry handle, lift handle on it that is kind of built as part of the back assembly. Does have a pole socket on the bottom, which we'll get to. And then around on the back of it here, we have the amplifier section, just basic in, out. On the amplifier power button, I believe they've got a equalization button here for low frequency boost and flat line mic input sensitivity on the back of it here, and that's about it. Everything else you can do on your board. It is not meant to be a small mixer or anything like that. This is a true workhorse as far as the speaker is concerned, and when you hear these things, you will totally understand why this box, this ART745A, has just been getting the amazing reviews that it has. And we're going to open this thing up and show you why this is one of the top rated injection molded two-way boxes pretty much in the industry. This thing has got more output, and the sonic quality of this thing with that larger high frequency driver on it is just absolutely amazing. So what we're going to get into is open this thing up, pull out the high frequency driver, low frequency driver, and then take a look at the power amp, and then also what's inside this injection molded box to make this ART745A such a remarkable box. So we've got the grill off of it, and with, as most of their other products, we're probably looking at about a 18 gauge grill, but it's very rigid. Again, with RCF, it's got the foam lining on it that just enhances the appearance and keeps crap out of the 15-inch driver. 15-inch driver down here, it is held in by a series of screws into the cabinet. You can end up seeing the mounting that they've got some extender spacers here for the grill to mount to. Up here is just held on by 4 screws, and that's what holds the grill on. We're going to go ahead and get this 15-inch driver out and take a look at it, and then take a look at the inside of the construction of the box itself. So now you can see we've got the 15-inch driver out, and you can see the inside of the box here. This is the 15-inch Neo driver and magnet assembly. It is a stamped frame assembly, but the total weight of this thing with the Neo magnet on it, I'm going to estimate probably at about 10 pounds for the entire speaker assembly. It is a 4-ohm driver, so they're able to coax a little bit more power out of the amplifier and into this speaker, being that it's a 4-ohm configuration. It's just standard suspension surround on the thing, and then standard lead connections on it for the plus and the minus. Get that set off to the side here. Inside the box itself, we've got the leads that come out of the amplifier for the 15-inch driver. And then, as you can see, there is some acoustic dampening material that they've put around in the box that goes on each side of the 15-inch driver. But with it open now, even as you can hear me slapping on it, which hopefully it's not too loud, there's still not a lot of resonance to it, and that is just due to the way that they've got the construction and the injection molded plastic and the bracing that is molded into this, as you can kind of see inside there. I don't want to pull out any of this until we have to. They've also got a wooden brace across the box itself to help tighten things up and ensure the rigidity of the cabinet, as you can kind of see up in there, and then you can see the amplifier itself. For us to be able to get the high frequency driver out, there's a series of screws on the back of it that allows us to take this whole front assembly off. There is a line here that you can see, and that's where the two pieces come together. As with a lot of these that we've taken apart in the past, if you didn't know better, you would think that that had been injection molded all as one piece. That is how good the molds are for these things and when they put them together. So pretty stinking amazing. We're going to go ahead, get this opened up, get that, show you what the cabinet is made out of, and then take a look at that high frequency driver that's on this, which is a beast. So we're going to go ahead and get that done. Well, and there you have it. We've got the two sections apart. You can kind of see what is shaping up here as far as the cabinet with the wraparound foam, and then this brace that's inside of it. We're going to go ahead and pull the leads on this high frequency driver, if we can. A lot of these are on very, very tight from the factory, so that they will never come off, and I think that's probably what's happened to these. Enlist a little bit of a helper, which you didn't get to see. But we've got the leads off, and I'm going to go ahead and set the amplifier section with all the screws back behind here. Hopefully that it will not fall over. And now here's what you've been waiting for. That is the high frequency driver in this unit. It's huge. I'm going to go ahead and flip this upside down so the other camera here picks it up. But this thing is absolutely massive. I am going to pull this off, and we'll take a look at it and see what makes it so special here on this ART745A series cabinet. So we ended up pulling the driver plate and assembly off, but one of the things I want you to see is what they've done with the inside of this injection molded front piece. And this is one of the reasons why these boxes sound the way that they do. They're not hollow sounding as far as, you know, resonance is concerned, and it's just because of all this bracing that they have got on the inside of this box, rather than just being a piece of plastic. It has been very well thought out and has added a lot of rigidity, even though you're thinking plastic. has added a lot of rigidity, and then just with the dampening material that they've got on the inside of it, really cuts down on any type of resonance, especially with kind of the catacomb technology that they're using in there, so to speak, of the multicellular. And then the driver assembly ends up bolting up to this. It comes on a metal plate, which we're going to go ahead and put this down. Doesn't weigh a thing. And then this is the driver assembly. So as you can see, this is one monster driver. And then as we flip it around here, this is the plate that it's on that bolts it up. Because of the weight of this thing is probably 12 to 15 pounds. It's pretty stinking beefy. Yeah, at least. But you can see what they've done with the, I don't know if you can see with the camera picking that up in there or not, but you can see what they've done with the phasing plug on that. Little screen on it to keep stuff out of the inside of it, bugs and that kind of stuff. And then one of the other things they've done too is on the face of the cabinet here, they have got a little metal screen for the front of it that keeps stuff out of that high frequency driver as well. But this is the whole reason that the ART745 box sounds the way that it does and is crossed over at the point that it is with the, this 4-inch driver. Just exceptional audio quality. All I can say is smooth. All the RCF boxes, in my opinion, are voiced very well, very smooth, up to the crossover point and beyond. But the lower crossover point on this driver being at 650, the smoothness of it transitioning from the 15-inch driver up to this high-frequency driver is just freaking phenomenal. That if you've never heard one of these things, you gotta hear one. It'll blow your socks off. Kind of the same technology with the HD line, the HD line 32A, a little bit smaller driver, and I think it's crossed over a little bit higher, but still kind of the same technology that's going on in that cabinet as well with the HD32A. The HD12A sounds fantastic, but the 32 is just amazing with the larger driver and the crossover point being a little bit lower. So that is the high frequency driver in the front assembly. What we're going to do is go ahead and get the back assembly and the amplifier up here and take a peek at that real quick, and then probably end up doing a little bit of music through this thing. I think we might just try to do a little smart trace on it and see in this room, which I know is not a acoustic chamber or anything, but just kind of give you an idea of what we're seeing as far as frequency response on this with our smart rig. So we'll go ahead and get the back pulled open and look at the amp. So here's the back half of the cabinet with the wooden brace in it, and then the leads coming out for the high frequency driver and the low frequency driver. You can kind of start seeing the workings of the amplifier in the back there. But again, you can see all of the bracing inside of what they've done with the strengthening of this particular cabinet, as they have with the entire Art series line. It is not just a plastic shell. So even with everything out of it, still sounds, pretty solid, that you can tell there's some construction behind it, that it's not just a piece of plastic that everything is housed in. And then you can just see the arc of the acoustic dampening material in there to help soak up some stuff inside the cabinet, and that is it. We're going to go ahead and get the amplifier pulled off this thing and show you what that likes. Pretty much the same on all of the Art series, using kind of the same series of amplifier on all of these 7 series, being 700 watts RMS, 500 going to a low frequency driver, 200 watts going to a high frequency driver. Depending on the size and the driver and things, they are limiting the power, so you're not, even though it's 200 watts, you're not going to be worried about blowing a little driver or blowing this driver. So they do a real good job with peak limiting and RMS limiting on these boxes. So you don't have to worry about doing any, extreme damage to them unless you are just trying to pump things through them that they were never designed to do, or you are trying to do things with a pair of speakers that you should have 4 or 6 speakers in trying to cover an event or an audience. So word to the wise, get more rig for the gig if you need it. We're going to go ahead and get the amp pulled off and show you what that digital amp is all about for this ART745A. One of the nice things that I would like to mention about this box is that everything is on Phillips screws other than the amplifier, which is on little Allen screws into the plastic assembly. So if you need to take one apart, there's really no special tools other than just a kind of an Allen wrench into the back of these things. And pretty much if you've got a metric set of Allen wrenches, you will have no problem being able to pull any of this apart and do this for yourself. Okay, so we've got the amplifier out, and as you can see now, we're through here and with the wood bracing in the front to hold everything together this way. But even without that, the rigidity of the cabinet is still pretty amazing with all of the sections and kind of the honeycombing that they've done with this box. The way that the handles are built and constructed into it, and just the tightness of all of the pieces on the cabinet. One of the things that I mentioned earlier is just how this section butts up to the front section, that if you didn't really know that these things came apart, you would swear that it's all injection molded in one single piece. They've done that good of a job in the form fit of the front section to the back section on these cabinets. The acoustic dampening material that rides up around the horn assembly and around the amplifier just helps soak up some of the resonant frequencies inside the box, which is pretty standard on and most boxes, period, even wooden, just to help with that. Does have a pole socket on the bottom and right here, standard pole, but just the overall construction on this cabinet. Everything is Phillips screws, so comes apart really easily, and in the woofer assembly mounts in the front portion of this thing. But very nice box, as they've done with all of their Art Series cabinets. So they've done an exceptional job with that, you know, as well. And we're going to go ahead and set this off to the side and then look at the amplifier, which is common to all of the Art 7 Series boxes, being that it is a 700 watt amplifier, 500 watts to the low, 200 watts to the top. And we'll go ahead and take a peek at that. So here we've got the amplifier out. Again, this is all mounted on a cast aluminum frame. IEC input here with a fuse on it, power on and off. And then the processing section up here, which is your input and your feed through. It has your boost and your normal, and then the mic line sensitivity. On the back of the amplifier, leads coming out on a standard type Molex type connector, everything being surface mount technology for the processing that is going on up in this end. Through the center here is where these switch mode power supply is and the amplifier, but you can see the semiconductors off on the sides here, comprising up the power amplifier sections for this. Whole weight of the amplifier assembly is probably 7 or 8 pounds, and all of your power comes in, ferrite bead on it, and tied into the on-off switch. Everything is grounded to this aluminum chassis. Does have a 1/4 inch output on it, but since these are all wired together in parallel, you can use that for a 1/4 inch input as well. If you have a guitar or something that requires some 1/4 inch type input on it, rather than the balanced XLR 3-pin on it. So that's pretty much it for the ART745. That's what comprises it. The drivers being neodyme on it is something that, as far as why this box is the price point that it is what you're paying for, as well as the quality of the drivers. These are better drivers in this 745A box. So with that and with the amplifier and with what you're getting with this box and the larger high frequency driver and the lower crossover point, this thing's well worth every penny that this box costs. The sonic quality and the output of this thing is just absolutely amazing. So we're going to go ahead and get it back together, maybe just show you a smart trace of what we were able to look at it, just putting some noise through it, and go from there. So right now we've got some sweeps going through it, and we've got smart set up. We've just got it set on 31 band and spectrograph, and we're sweeping all the way from 0 to 20,000 cycles, and you can see where everything kind of goes up as the generator is sweeping through the frequency range. You can see the speaker, the microphone is about 2.5 feet in front of it on axis with the front of the cabinet straight on. And what we're going to do now with the signal generator is go in and put on some pink noise. And then we're also going to change the resolution from 3rd octave to 48. As you can see, kind of where everything is at with the 48 octave. If you look at 3rd octave, you can really see how flat the frequency response of this box is, all the way from down at about 50, where the box says that it will go to, all the way up to past 16K. But you can see the flatness of the response in that on the smart. Don't pay any attention to that. We're not calibrated as far as SPL output. It's fairly quiet in what we're doing right now. Ramp that down just a little bit as well. But you can see the flatness of this box, that it's pretty stinking amazing. Even as we, like we did earlier, increasing the resolution up to 1/48. You can just see that even with that, though, you know, there are little dips and valleys based on, you know, what the room is kind of doing, but still flat. You can see, you know, down in the low end being generated. I'm going to switch on the boost on it. So the boost just went in, and you can see that it ends up bringing up just a little bit of boost on the low end. We're going to go and do that on 3rd octave as well. So boost is in right now. Now the low frequency boost is out. Boost is back in again. Boost is out. So it does a little bit, it doesn't do a lot. You can hear it though with your ears. As you're playing music, you can hear what that boost switch does on the box. But that is the ART745A. It does what it says. The response on the thing in listening to music though, and playback and even live bands, because of that large driver on it, the output out of the thing is just simply amazing. Just very pristine in the highs, but where that crossover point is allows some of the vocals in the higher mids to come through that driver that just really punches out there. So we are all back together, and that concludes this video on the RCF ART745A. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop us an email either off here on YouTube with a comment or info@trinityprosound.com. trinityprosound.com is the website address. Company name Trinity Productions. Like I've said before, if you're in Northern California, swing by, give us a visit, and introduce yourself. If you want to listen to whatever we've got in stock, we'd be more than happy to do so. If you're looking for a great all-around speaker that is fairly light, the weight of this guy is 19.6 kilos. I'll put that up in pounds on the screen here for you as well. But this thing is fairly light, fairly phenomenal as far as the output, and went back together very nicely. If you're in the market for speakers, cables, mixers, lighting, whatever the case may be, give us a call, shoot us an email. We are dealers for probably 45 to 50 pro audio and lighting lines, all the major ones, and would love to hook you up with some exceptional deals on RCF and some of the other lines that we carry. And like I said, any questions, give us a holler. You can do that at area code 209-832-8023, and be glad to talk to you about any of your audio needs, whether it is DJ or live band, live sound, and even recording. So hopefully this has helped. And again, thank you for watching Trinity Productions, trinityprosound.com.